Welcome to this episode of Diaspora Scholars TV, where we bring you stories about students, scholars, professionals, and other uh, people who've come to the US to pursue their careers. Today I've come all the way to Arizona. I'm in Mesa, Arizona, just about 20 miles from Phoenix, which is a major city in Arizona. So I'm here to be able to interview one Josphat. Josphat is going to tell us where he hails from, and we're going to listen to his story. So again, this is an initiative of the Kenya Scientists in Diaspora, where we bring you these stories for the purposes of motivating other Kenyans and other Africans who are still in Africa, but who want to pursue their careers in the US. So without much further ado, I want to welcome our guest to the show. So welcome, Josphat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
too.
to meet you, and thank you for welcoming us to your home. I wish I was living here because it is warm compared to the northern states, Indiana.
Mhm.
I just left Indiana and it was snowing, but today I come to Phoenix. Oh, it's warm and nice and lovely.
Oh yeah, we have the best weather here, climate, especially during winter.
Mm-hmm.
So many elderly people live here because of the conducive climate. And yeah, it's nice to be.
Not to mention the summer, how the summer.
Oh, now the summer is really hot.
It's really hot in the summer.
But the good thing about it is it's a dry heat. So it's not as bad as it would be. Although it goes up to 115 or beyond, but still it's bearable. Somebody can still manage.
Of course, people live here, so it's bearable.
Yes.
So, tell us your names, and where you come from, and we want to be able to learn to hear, your story. Somebody told me, go talk to Josphat all the way in Arizona. He has an interesting story, and besides that, in later parts of this show, you tell us about, the financial consultancy business you engage in, because in this show, we bring you stories about professionals. And so today we want to be able to share your story and also what you do as a financial consultant. And so, but before then, where do you come from? What's your name? And let us know who you are.
Thank you. My name is Josphat Mainye. I come from Kenya, of course. Mm-hmm. Nyanza province, the old Nyanza, mm-hmm. and the region of Kisii. Mm-hmm. I have been here for the last 8 years. I moved here in January 2, 2017. And since then, I've been a resident of Arizona. Mm-hmm. And I majorly work on the field of healthcare.
Oh, healthcare.
Yeah, that's what I do. Mm-hmm. For all the time I've been here. Mm-hmm. Until, of course, later, as you said, I will talk about what I do currently, which I'm slowly transitioning into.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are transitioning from healthcare into financial business.
Exactly.
Wow. So you've been here all that time in Arizona. I'm sure this is, like you said earlier, the weather is great. I'm sure there's much more than the weather, right? You've been earning an income.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. When I arrived in the United States, I arrived on January 2, which is in the midst of winter, mm-hmm. and I arrived in the state of Illinois, Chicago.
Oh, that's a cold place.
And it was really, really cold. Ungodly cold.
Ungodly cold.
I had to flee from there. I was attending a conference for 3 weeks, and once it was over, because I planned to remain, I moved quickly to a warm area, mm-hmm. which is Arizona. Mm-hmm. It never snows here. Mm-hmm. And when I made my way here, it has been my home, and I've never thought of moving elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And my life in the U.S. has majorly been within Arizona, although I visit other states once in a while, but this is where
I think I'll welcome you to Indiana, and I think this is the best time for you to come. because it's really snowing. But I mean, on the other hand, a visit doesn't hurt. You know, you don't have to live there.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. But where did you go to school in Kisii? I mean, I've interviewed you know, several people on this show. For example, Dr. James Omweri. He told me he comes from Mosocho.
Yes.
I've interviewed Lynette Maranga. I've interviewed many other people from Kisii. Where do you really come from in Kisii?
Okay, I come from a constituency known Nyaribari Chache. It's bordering Nyaribari Masaba, and of course the other side is Kitutu Masaba. And my home area originally is called Nyansira. Nyansira village. That's where I come from, and that's where basically I went through my schooling. Needless to say, I grew up in a very poor family, and so we were struggling to make ends meet, including my schooling. My parents were not able to provide all the schooling needs that I needed, and therefore I went to Nyansira Primary School. After completing my class 8, I got during my time I got a letter, you know, to join admission letter to join high school, and then I was it was Nyanjwa
Boys,
Nyanjwa Secondary School, which is an Adventist school, but because of my inability, my parents' inability to raise the school fees that I needed, I had to join the local high school called Nyankoba Secondary School.
Nyankoba's Secondary School.
That's where I did my high school from Form 1 to Form 4, and it was marked with you know,
sporadic cases of being sent home for tuition fees, and I've heard similar stories, but you were determined nevertheless.
I was determined, and I had a good time with I established a good relationship with my teachers, whereby when my parents were not able to pay for my school fees the final year, the teachers joined hands to pay for me.
Oh, teachers paid your final tuition fees?
Including my examination.
So they couldn't have been paying for somebody who wasn't doing well in school.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And besides doing well, I was awarded as the most disciplined student in that school.
Which year was that?
That was in the year 1994.
1994.
That's when I completed my high school.
What was the name of the school again?
Nyankoba Secondary School.
Nyankoba Secondary School.
Yes.
Viewers, if you are watching from Nyankoba Secondary School, one of the best students in 1994, I hear the Gen Z say, you know, that's an old time ago. But those are the times of Josphat here, and he was the best student in that school. And so right now he's in the U.S., and you too can be in the U.S. So from Nyankoba Secondary School, where did you go?
I joined college, middle level college.
Which college was that?
That was it's called the National Industrial Training Center in Nairobi.
Oh, okay, National Industrial Training Center in Nairobi.
Yeah, so
they teach a lot of hands-on activity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I majorly did mechanical engineering. That's where that's what I pursued. And upon graduating, I got my diploma from there. As always,
jobs.
Now I ventured into the job seeking, whereby, as we all know, Kenya, there is no guarantee that there is a job.
Like in many countries in Africa.
Exactly. Yeah. But God was good on me, because I finally got hired in one of the companies owned by Indians. Although they were underpaying me, it was better than nothing.
Yeah. And, which company was that? Do you remember?
It was called East African Foundry Works.
East African Foundry Works in Nairobi. In Nairobi.
It's in Ruaraka.
In Babadogo, Ruaraka.
Yes. So that's where I worked for 4 years.
Oh, you worked for a long time.
Yes.
That wasn't easy work, was it?
I was doing technician work and, of course, maintenance, that kind of stuff. But for some reason, they had to cut down the number of employees, and I was not spared.
That's when
I was relieved. And since then, I had a young family. My kids were very young. The firstborn then was about 4 years.
It wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. Living in Nairobi with a young family without an income was really a challenge. But I was determined to, be the man that I should be. And I ventured. I did all manner of legal things I could do to sustain my family, including touting, being a Matatu conductor. Exactly. I did that because I did not have a choice.
Viewers, I mean, every time I keep saying on this show, I get pulled by a surprise. This is Josphat's surprise. Now he's telling me he was a tout. But look at him. He's clad in a suit.
Yeah.
And it's a long story, but you are tout.
Yes. And it's during that time.
Which road was that? Which you remember the bus stop?
Yeah, I worked in several routes. The first one was Huruma, Nairobi, and then Nairobi, Ngong, and finally when I moved to Kitengela, I operated Kitengela, Nairobi.
You were hustling.
I was hustling, and as fate could have it, I ended up owning my own Matatu.
What?
Yes. Now operating from Kitengela to Nairobi until when I moved to the US.
Hold that thought for a moment. Viewers, did you hear what he said? He was a tout, literally, looking for passengers for other people who own vehicles.
Yes.
And you found a way to save money until you owned your own taxi.
Exactly.
We call them Matatus.
Exactly.
That's why we do these shows. That's why we take trips. That's why we take flights to find Kenyans wherever they are in the US. We are in Mesa, Arizona, just 20 miles from Phoenix, Arizona, the Sun City. Today is the story of Josphat, a tout who eventually became a Matatu owner, a taxi owner. But he's in the US, so there is more to his story. Keep talking. It's becoming more fun now.
Yeah, so it's during that period when I was now doing my own Matatu business. Sometimes I would drive, sometimes I would let the employees do it. When I got in touch with the...
You knew everything about Matatu business. You are a tout, you are a driver, you are the owner. Yes. There is nothing that would, I'm sure I'm sure nobody was stealing from you because you know everything.
Yes, and of course, the attitude I had, or my mindset was that I never wanted to be picky, that I can't do this or because of this and that.
You didn't choose a job that
No, I just did what was available just to keep my family going. And that's when I came in touch with a friend who introduced me to the one American who coincidentally lives here in Arizona, in a place called Chandler, like 20 minutes from here. That lady, who was originally a journalist, was visiting Kenya. And when we got to know each other, she saw some potential in me and encouraged me to, think outside the box and, because I shared with her what I thought I could do in terms of touching other people's lives. And finally, she connected me to organizations which propelled me to
come to the US,
to go to different countries at first.
You've been to other countries?
Yes, I went to the Philippines where I attended a conference, a leadership conference.
In the Philippines?
Yes, that was in the year 2012. And then 2013, I attended another leadership conference in Burundi, in Africa. And 2014, that was my first time to be